All right, shalom, 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 everybody. Shabbat shalom. Most High willing, everybody's having a mighty and beautiful, blessed Shabbat opening. As we come in to the Shabbat, man. As we are in the Shabbat, as we continue in the Shabbat, right? Let me go ahead and kick it off with the opening precepts, the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of the Lord Yahweh Shai, giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by Him. Right. So everything we do in word or deed, we do it all in the name of the Lord Yahweh Shai, giving thanks to the Most High God Yahweh. That's why we say, call Allah Yahweh, Ba'ashem HaMashiach, Womalak Yahweh Shai. That's all honor and glory to the Most High God through His Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And this is the book of Ephesians, chapter 4 and verse 11. And He gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and teachers for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Yahweh Shai, which is the Israelites. So everything we do is for the perfecting of the saints, the work of the ministry, and the edifying of the body of Yahweh Shai, which is the Israelites spread across the four corners of the earth, chiefly on the western side of the hemisphere, the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? And we do it that they may be perfected and beautified and prepared for the marriage, because we're commanded to be perfect. So this is another self-examination class, right? As you know, here at SOZ, our main focus is to teach self-examination, and most importantly, scriptural application, right? So the classes we do, we're not gonna often go into deep, dark prophecies and mysteries, because although those things have some profit to them, they're not gonna get us salvation, right? What's gonna ultimately get us to get us salvation is scriptural application, allowing the scriptures to wash us and change us, right? So the title of this class is Prisoner of Yahweh Shai, or Prisoner of Christ, or Prisoner of the World, right? Because you can only be one or the other. You can't be both. You're either a prisoner of Yahweh Shai or you're a prisoner of the world. So with that, I want to share my screen, and I want to pull up the definition of a prisoner, right? So we can get a better understanding of what a prison, what the definition of it is, right? Let me share my screen. Right, so this is the definition. Well, I like the Merriam-Webster, so I'm going to go to the Merriam-Webster. It says a person deprived of liberty and kept under involuntary restraint, confinement, or custody, someone restrained as if in a prison, right? So it says a person deprived of liberty and kept under involuntary restraint, confinement, or custody, right? Deprived of liberty is very important to understand, right? And kept under involuntary restraint, right? Hey, you're supposed to be bound to the ways of Yahweh Shai, bound to the teachings of Yahweh Shai, bound to following Yahweh Shai, right? Let me get another thing. Right? Something I want to look at. Nope, that's not what I want. Bear with me. No, these are not what I want. Okay, so this is what we'll do. Right, before we go into the class, I just want to get an understanding of what it means to be a prisoner. It's actually my first precept, right? Right, this is the first precept. Therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith you are called, right? I, therefore, the prisoner. Paul is calling himself a prisoner, right? I, therefore, the prisoner. So we ought to be prisoners the same way as Paul, right? And the word here is desmios. I'm going to play it.
Strong's G 1198, desmios.
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 Right? Let's go to what the word means. Right? Bound, in bonds, captive, a prisoner. Right? Bound. You're in bonds. Are you in bonds to the ways of the world? Right? Or are you in bonds to Yahweh Shai? Right? Which one are you in bonds to? This is something that we have to really examine, and we have to know the traits and the ways of a prisoner of Yahweh Shai, and the traits and the ways of somebody that's a prisoner of the world, somebody that's bound to the ways of the world, to the doings of the world, to the understandings of the world, to the works of the world, right? Versus somebody that is bound to the ways of Yahweh Shai, right? So I'm gonna read it again. Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 1. I therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that you walk worthy of the vocation with your call, right? So Paul is a prisoner of the world. I mean, it's like of the Lord. He is bound to the ways of Yahweh Shai. He is bound to follow Yahweh Shai's commandments. He's bound to do the works of Yahweh Shai. He's bound to do everything that the Lord has commanded him to do, right? He has to. He's restrained to it. He's constrained to it. He doesn't have an option, right? This is the book of Acts, chapter 9 and verse 8. And it says, and I saw arose from the earth, and when his eyes were opened, he saw no man, but they laid him in the hand and brought him into Damascus. And he was 3 days without sight, and neither did eat nor drink. And there was a certain disciple at Damascus named Ananias. And to him said the Lord in a vision, Ananias. And he said, behold, I am here, Lord. And the Lord said unto him, arise and go into the street which is called Straight, and inquire in the house of Judas for one called Saul of Tarsus, for behold, he prayeth. And he seen in a vision a man named Ananias coming in, and putting his hand on him, that he might receive his sight. Then Ananias answered, Lord, I have heard by many of this man how much evil he hath done to thy saints at Jerusalem. And here he hath authority from the chief priest to bind all that call on thy name. But the Lord said unto him, go thy way, for he is a chosen vessel unto me to bear my name before the Gentiles and kings and the children of Israel, for I will show him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake. Right? Prisoners suffer, man. Prisoners don't get to just walk around, roam freely, right? They have to suffer, right? They're bound to the ways of the prison, to the damn warden, the rules of the prison, and they suffer for that. They suffer. They're in suffering, right? So when you're a prisoner of Yahweh Shai, you suffer for the name of the Lord, right? You're bound to his ways and you suffer for his name, right? Doing his works. It's not what I want to do, how I feel like doing, right? No, you're bound to that, right? And you can be bound to the ways of the Lord, or you can be bound to the ways of the world. You could be bound by the chains of your flesh, right? Let me get another precept. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 43 and verse 7. And it says, even every one that is called by my name, for I have created him for my glory. I have formed him, yet I have made him. Bring forth the blind people that have eyes, and that deaf that have ears. Let all nations be gathered together, and let the people be assembled who among them can declare this, to show forth the former things. Let them bring forth their witnesses, that they may be justified. Let them hear and say, it is the truth. Ye are my witnesses, saith the Most High, and my servant, whom I have chosen, that ye may know and believe and understand that I am he. Before me there is no power formed, neither shall there be any after me. Right? You are his servants. Right? As a prisoner, you are a servant of the Lord. Right? You're a witness and a servant of the Lord. Right? This is the thing that he has called us to do. Right? A servant doesn't get to do what he wants to do. Oftentimes, these brothers and sisters in the truth, they still want to do what they want to do. Like they have a notion, an inkling in their mind that you can be a servant and a prisoner of the Lord, but still do what you want to do. Right? Hey, if you do what you want to do in a prison instead of following the rules of the prison, you're going to get thrown in a hole. You're going to get harsher penalties, harsher judgments, right? So if you come into this truth to serve the Lord as a servant, as a prisoner, and you still try to do what you want to do, you're going to get judgment. You're going to get harsher penalties. And you're going to get worse than thrown in a hole, man, right? You're going to get thrown into like a fire. So we got to really look at these things, examine ourselves, and see, are we moving as a prisoner, somebody bound to the ways of the Lord, right? That somebody that is constrained to do righteous things, or somebody that's actually trying to steal toe the line, right? Let's go to another precept. Let's go to the book of Matthew, right? It's the book of Matthew, chapter 11, and verse 5. The blind receive their sight, and the lame walk. The lepers are cleansed. The deaf hear. The dead are raised up, and the poor have got the gospel preached to them. And blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. Right? Not offended. Not kind of find a way around it, a way out of it. Man, I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. A prisoner doesn't get to be offended. A prisoner has to do what he's told. And they say you got to wake up at 5 a.m. and go work on the whole line. You got to go work on that whole line, man. Right? You got to beat it. Right? They say you got to work in the kitchen. And you got to work in the kitchen, man. You don't get to say, why do I got to work in the kitchen? Why is that my duty? Yo, you got to do it. You can't be offended. The same way if you was locked in chains for Esau, you're going to do everything Esau tells you to do. And you bound to the righteousness of the Lord, to his works, to being a servant, to being servitude to Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Shai. And you can't be offended at that. You got to actually move in that righteous spirit, right? Let me get one more and I'm going to pass it. It's the book of Galatians, right? Salakia. The book of Galatians, chapter 1. See where I want to start. I'm going to go ahead and go right to the point. Verse 10. For do I now persuade men or the Most High? Or do I seek to please men? Right? So the seeking of the pleasing of men is being a prisoner of the world. Right? And when it says men, it's talking about mankind. So sisters, you can be a prisoner of the world as well, seeking to please your mama, seeking to please your sister, seeking to please your homegirls, right? Seeking to please yourself. Right? You could be a servant to yourself, which is still a servant of sin, which is still a servant of the world. A prisoner to yourself, man. It says what? For if I yet please men, I should not be a servant of Yahweh Shai. You see that? If you yet please men, if you yet to seek to please men, you cannot be a servant of the Lord. You cannot be a prisoner to Yahweh Shai and you're seeking to please men. Right? And with that, you got it, King.
A lot of great points, man. And then it's also like, to your point, like right before this precept, it ain't necessarily no breaks in this thing. You know what I'm saying? Why y'all Shai gonna want to know why ain't that pick swinging? You know what I'm saying? Like we supposed to be bound to this word, to this wisdom. You know what I'm saying? To this walk. You know what I'm saying? And it shouldn't be grievous. But the problem is with most people is that instead of being a servant, of Yahweh Shai, they want to be a servant of their own self, making accommodations for their emotions and how they feel, right? I'm gonna go with the classics, man, and bring this out real quick. It's Proverbs 3 and 5. It says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. And that's the problem. A lot of us lean unto our own understanding or, again, make accommodations to our flesh or our emotions to what we don't see fit, right? The Most High say, my ways are not, or my thoughts are not your thoughts, right? It says, verse 6, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil, right? And that's pretty plain. Grab another one on that. Sirach 3 and 24. It says, for many are deceived by their own vain opinion, and an evil suspicion have overthrown their judgment. But many are deceived by their own vain opinion because we think that we know better, we know a better way, especially, those who this light of the word, what I'm saying, has, been bestowed upon. Now we feel like we're in light. Now we think that we know better than what God has shown us. This is the clear road and the path right here in between the uh the parameters of this book, right? But we like to go off our own vain opinion. So let me grab this real quick, just because I spoke on it. Isaiah 55 and 8. It says, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. Whereas the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. And we got to keep that heavily engraved in our mind, right? So with us being a follower of Yahweh Shah, what does that look like, right? It looks like us following him in every which way. Another class I'm gonna bring out real quick in First Peter 2:21, it says, "For even hereunto were ye called, because Christ also suffered for us, leaving us an example that ye should follow his steps." Right? So he left us an example, right? We ought to be getting in this book, reading up on, how he moved, how he operated, his mindset, the wisdom, you know what I'm saying? Like trying to get into this, right? It says, "Who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth." So we gotta try to do according to the word, you know what I'm saying, and not offend God in any way, right? So hold up. Let me grab this real quick. Because right, it says, we ought to be a prisoner of Yahweh Shai. The topic being a prisoner of Yahweh Shai, a prisoner of the world. And the brother brought it out, right, as far as what it means. Like when he brought it up into the Blue Letter Bible, it said bound in bonds, a captive, a prisoner, right? And that's how we got to operate. We got to be bound to this word or wisdom, rather, right? That's what that looks like. And it shouldn't be grievous. Let me bring this out. It's Sirach 6:22. It says, "For wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. Give ear, my son, receive my advice, and refuse not my counsel." This book is the counsel that we ought to receive, right? And we shouldn't refuse it, right? We got to receive the advice from the book. We can't think that we wiser than the Most High God, who created everything, gave us the wisdom that we have and everything that we have, right? Verse 25, it says, "Bow down thy shoulder and bear her, and be not grieved with her bonds," right? The bonds of wisdom shouldn't be a grievous thing, right? You should want to serve the Most High God. We should have the fear of the Lord. We speak on supposedly having the fear of the Lord, loving the Lord, all these things, which ultimately points down one road of doing what He asked of us. I mean, yeah, to be obedient unto Him, right? But again, us as mere human, flesh and bones, we want to serve our own flesh. But let me keep going. It says 26, it says, "Come unto her with thy whole heart, and keep her ways with all thy power. Search and seek, and she shall be made known unto thee. And when thou hast got hold of her, let her not go." Right? So we can't let this go. But the point in that one was, again, right there in verse 25, "Bow down thy shoulder, bear her, fully submit unto the wisdom of the Lord," right? Bow down thy shoulder, bear her, and be not grieved with her bonds, right? But let me grab one more, King. I'm gonna pass it. Go to the book of Proverbs real quick. Proverbs 4. Well, I'm gonna start at. I'm gonna start at 5, right? Proverbs 4:5. It says, "Get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not. Neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding." And I brought that out because it's kind of touching on to this Sirach 6, right? Like we ought to be bound unto wisdom. Wisdom is the principal thing. If we had wisdom, we would be ultimately a servant of Yahweh Shai and following his ways, right? But you got it, King.
Come on, mighty points. Let me share my screen again. This is what I was looking for earlier. Through the Spirit, the Lord brought it back. Right, I worded it wrong. Right, it says prisoner task is what I googled. Prisoners engage in a variety of activities during their confinement, Mind you, we're confined to Yahweh Shai, working at prison jobs, right? Always abounding in the work, right? The Lord says that we must always be abounding in the work. It says attending classes, right? First, let's deal with the working prison jobs, because one of the prison jobs, when you read down here, it says agriculture, right? Agricultural work, right? Which is working in the fields, right? Which is doing things in the fields, right? So let's get a precept. Let's go to the book of Sirach real fast, right? Let's go to the book of Sirach. Let's get these works of a prisoner, right? Sirach chapter 7, right? And verse number 15. Hate not laborious work, neither hate husbandry, which the Most High have ordained, right? That's a task of a prisoner, to work in labor in the field, agricultural work, right? That's the work of the Lord. You cannot hate this, right? So if you are a prisoner of Yahweh Shai, right, you are out here laboring, right, agriculturally, right, laboring in the field, right? Not kind of doing what you want to do, but laboring in the field. What does that look like? What is that? Right, let's go to Matthew 13, right? And I'm going to start at verse number 24. And another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which soweth a good seed in the field. See that? Working in the field, right? Agricultural work, right? And for the sake of time, I'm not going to read down on it, right? But we're going to hop to verse number 37. It says, he answered and said unto them, he that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked. So what? The field is the world. Our job is to go and work in the Lord's field. Agriculturally, just the same way a prisoner is, right? We have to go work agriculturally in the field. We have to literally feed and labor in the field, right? Feed in the garden continually, right? Let's go back to it. Oh, so like I removed. Let me go back to it. So it says what? Attending classes, right? So another work of a prisoner's task is to attend classes, right? Let's go to the book of 2 Timothy, right? It's the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 2 and verse 15. Study to show thyself approved unto the Most High, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So the Lord says that we're supposed to study to show ourselves approved, right? That's what the Lord says. Study to show thyself approved. And it says what? Prisoners have to attend classes. So you got to be on classes. You got to be learning. You got to be studying. You got to be growing. See, a prison is set up to reform you. You being a prisoner of Yahweh Shai is supposed to reform you. Doing the work, studying, learning in the classes is supposed to reform you out of the ways of the world. The world is wicked. And your mind has been conceived to do wickedness, and you're supposed to be a prisoner of Yahweh Shai, which is reforming you to the perfection of Yahweh Shai, preparing you for the kingdom. And it starts with laboring, right? Doing the classes, right? Then it says what? So another thing it says, right? It says, another thing it says was what? It says, provided, it says, Salakia, food services, right? Labor in the field, cleaning laundry. Hey, brother, say you got to clean laundry in this thing. What is it talking about, right? What is the Lord referring to when he tells us that about cleaning laundry? What kind of laundry do we clean for the Lord, man? Right? Let's get it, right? Real quick. Let me go ahead and stop this.
That boy cooking, man.
Let me go ahead and stop this through the Spirit. Bear with me. All right. Real quick. It says what? The laundry, right? Let's get this first. It's the book of Genesis. It's been a minute since I pulled this precept. Most High willing, it's the right one. It's the book of Genesis, chapter 35 and verse 2. Then Jacob said unto his household and to all them that were with him, put away the strange gods that are among you and be clean and change your garments. You see that? The laundry, man, your garments, that filthy garment that you have on you. Hey, the Lord said you got to change that thing. You got to be clean. You got to go wash it. You got to go wash that garment. Get it right. Get it clean. Just like a prisoner got to work and do laundry, hey, we got to do laundry in this thing, man. Right? Your garments, right? Let's get another one. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes, right? Chapter 9 and verse 8. What the Lord say? It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9 and verse 8. Let thy garments be always white, and let thy hair lack no ointment. Let thy garments always be white, right? What do you wash it with? Right? What is it that you wash these garments with? What are you doing the laundry with? Right? Well, let's go to the classic. Right? Let's go to the book of Ephesians, the classic precept, chapter 5 and verse 26. That they might sanctify it and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. So you do the laundry, wash these garments, wash these clothes, water the garden, feed the beast, all by the washing of the water of the word. All these things. And guess what? Your classes pertain to what? Sticking to the scriptures, studying day in and day out. These are the works of a prisoner of the Lord, man. Right? These are the works of it. And you got to walk in full subjection to the Most High as a prisoner. You can't kind of do what you want to do, right? Prisoners are in full subjection, right? So you have to make sure that you are in full subjection to Yahweh while Yahweh shot, right? Let me get this in the book of Colossians. It's the book of Colossians, chapter 1 and verse 10. That ye might walk worthy of the Lord unto all pleasing, being fruitful in every good work and increasing in knowledge of the Most High God. Being fruitful unto every good work and increasing in knowledge, right? How are you being fruitful in every good work, right? You're laboring continually, right? You working in that field, you plowing, right? And you kind of working in the kitchen doing the dishes, man, right? And you feeding every single day, man. You feeding the grass, right? You feeding the bushes, the trees every single day, man, right? And you're studying continually to keep that flesh from coming up and defeating you and making you a prisoner of the world. These are the things that you are doing, man. Right? Let's go to the book of James. Right? It's the book of James. The book of James, chapter 4 and verse 7. And it reads, submit yourselves, therefore, to the Most High. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Right? Submit yourself. You have to submit yourself to the Most High. Right? You have to literally submit yourself to the Lord. Too many brothers and sisters come into this truth and are not submitting themselves. They kind of say they believe, but they still in their mind are a prisoner to the world. They're still prisoner to the ways of the world, to the so-called white man and not the Most High, man. Right? Every thought that they do, every action they commit is first with the thoughts of the way the world will perceive it or how they were raised versus what the scripture teaches them. Right? And if that's the case, you are not a prisoner of Yahweh Shai. And you better fix that, because all the prisoners of the world, like I said, it ain't gonna be the hole, man. It's gonna be the lake of fire, the pit, the death, man. Right? So if you don't obey the warden, which is Yahweh while Yahweh Shai, then guess what, man? Hey, you're gonna get the pit, man. To hell with the hole. Hey, I remember the movie called Matilda, and they had the chokey, man. Hey, the hell with the chokey, man. Hey, put him in the chokey. The hell with the chokey, man. Hey, you're gonna be in a lake of fire, man. They don't want to pull that clip over the chokey, man. They hated the chokey. Kind of dragging them. No, not the chokey. Hey, man, that movie was fire, right? But nonetheless, you hey, you think they was worried about the chokey? Man, you better worry about the lake of fire the Lord gonna send on brothers, man. Right? Let's get this in the book of 2 Peter. Real quick, and I'm gonna pass it. This is the book of 2 Peter, chapter 1. Let me see. Right. This is the book of 2 Peter, chapter 1 and chapter 2 and verse 1. But there are false prophets among the people, even as there be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that bought them, and bringing up themselves swift destruction. And many shall follow their pecunious ways, by reason of whom of the way of the truth shall be evil spoken of. And through covetousness shall they with feigned words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not, and their damnation slumbereth not. For if the Most High spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them unto the chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment. Right? So guess what, man? If you don't follow the Lord, right? Hey, the Lord is going to literally destroy you, man. If you don't become a prisoner of the Lord is going to destroy you. You don't have a choice. You don't kind of get to make a decision, do what you want. It don't matter, man. Hey, one more. 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 3. According as a divine power have given unto us all things that pertain unto life and godliness through the knowledge of him that have called us to glory and virtue, whereby are given unto us exceeding great and precious promises, that by these ye might be partakers of the divine nature, having escaped corruption that in the world through lust. You see that? Escape corruption, right? This prison is supposed to literally refine, retool your mind to escape the corruption of the world. We're supposed to come into this truth as prisoners of Yahweh Shai, escaping the corruption of the world and being conformed to the ways of the warden, which is Yahweh Shai, which is going to keep us from that damnable damnation on the day of judgment, that damn choky, man, right? The lake of fire, right? But you got it, King.
Man, there's so much to touch on after what you just said, man. With everything that you said, man. But I mean, ultimately, we got to end up, humbling ourselves and submitting to the Most High God, and show that we really do fear. Because, like the brother said, your latter end could be something terrible. It'd be worse than that choky that he spoke of, right? This is Sirach 7 and 17. It says, "Humble thy soul greatly, for the vengeance of the ungodly is fire and worms," right? So you're either gonna see that fire, right? Or worm. What's worms? You're gonna see the grave, right? If you don't humble yourself and submit yourself unto the Lord, right? As well as when the brother was going into the garment, that was no, the laundry. That's what he was saying. That was a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? That was a nice way to bring that full circle, that list, you know what I'm saying, with imprisonment, man. So to get in there on that, as far as those filthy garments, because we're all filthy and we all working on ourselves every day, you know what I'm saying? But we got to change that, right? So let me get this. This is Zechariah 3:3. It said, "Now Joshua was clothed with filthy garments and stood before the angel. And he answered and spake unto those that stood before him, saying, Take away the filthy garments from him. And unto him he said, Behold, I have caused thine iniquity to pass from thee, and I will clothe thee with change of raiment." Right? And it's the iniquity that end up causing our raiment to be filthy and dirty. You know what I'm saying? Have spots and stains and blemishes and all that, our garment tattered and everything. We need to put on a nice, glorious robe, right? We need to be clean, right? So go back to it. Verse number 5, it says, "And I said, Let them set a fair mitre upon his head. So they set a fair mitre upon his head and clothed him with garments. And the angel of the Lord stood by." Right? This that transformation. That's what people don't understand. We got to change. You can't just come up in here, learn a few precepts enough to puff yourself up and cut people up while you either out there on the world, out there, bringing out the word, Salakia, or whether it's like your family members, your friends, they seeing like a little bit of change about you. You know what I'm saying? They just came from church on Sunday and you up there, ready to slice them up. No, you gotta change. It ain't just about, again, puffing yourself up with wisdom, right? So let me grab another one. It's your righteousness that is gonna change you, right? You get this. This is Sirach 27:8. It says, "If thou followest righteousness, thou shalt obtain her and put her on as a glorious long robe." Right? And that's more so going into wisdom. And we was already speaking on the wisdom earlier, which, matter of fact, I'm gonna go right back to that, right? Because it was more on that, and I could have read down for a minute, you know what I'm saying? But let me just I'm gonna read 25 again, Sirach 6:25, and I'm gonna jump down to what I was dealing with. Sirach 6:25, it says, "Bow down thy shoulder and bear her, and be not grieved with her bonds." We can't be grieved with the bonds of wisdom, right? Jump down to 29. It says, "Then shall her fetters be a strong defense for thee, and her chains a robe of glory, right? So if you endure, this captivity, of being captive to wisdom or being a prisoner of Yahweh Shai, then what it say? You shall have a robe of glory, right? Verse 30, it says, for there is a golden ornament upon her, and her bands are purple lace. Thou shalt put her on as a robe of honor, and shall put her about thee as a crown of glory, right? And that's pretty plain. So we got to change, right? And we got to wash ourselves, cleanse ourselves, which is ultimately putting away the iniquity, right? And submitting unto the Most High God. Let me get one on that. Go to the book of Proverbs. No, I'm tripping. Job. Go to the book of Job. It's one of my favorite precepts, right? This is Job 11 and 13. It says, if thou prepare thine heart and stretch out thine hands towards him, if iniquity be in thine hand, put it far away, and let not wickedness dwell in thy tabernacles. For then shalt thou lift up thy face without spot, yeah, thou shalt be steadfast and not fear, right? So if you put iniquity far away from you, you shall be without spot, right? Or blemish, right? As well as, so that would mean that you'll be putting on that clean garment, doing your laundry, right? Put that bleach on there, get that up out of there. Right, one more on that, now I pass another class in Isaiah. It's Isaiah 1 and well, I want to start at I just started at 16. It says, wash you, make you clean, put away the evil of your doings from before mine eyes, cease to do evil. Learn to do well, right? And that's ultimately what we gotta do. Like I said, Yahweh Shah left us an example. And we should follow after his steps. We got to learn to do well. You know what I'm saying? And not just learn it, do it, right? That's what we teach, the application of the scriptures. You gotta, it's I ain't gonna lie to you, and not to try to get into it, it's starting to look real bad in Israel, right? A lot of people know a lot of stuff. They know a lot of precepts. They can, you know, cut a lot of people down, right? But at the end of the day, you got to apply the scriptures to end up being a what's considered a righteous individual, upright, right? So 17, learn to do will, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, plead for the widow. Come now and let us reason together, saith the Lord, though your sins be as scarlet. Again, so your sins are as scarlet. Your iniquity is what's, causing them blemishes upon your garments, right? And it says, they shall be as white as snow, though they be red like crimson. They shall be as wool, right? So you putting away that iniquity, you know what I'm saying, is that shout, is that bleach, right? And it's going to get you right. But ultimately, we got to keep pressing towards the mark and put away iniquity. Follow God, submit to the Most High God, and you got it, King.
All praise to the Most High. I'm smiling because I said it and I got to bring it up now, right? I got to bring it up, right? But there's a point to make out of this, though, right? So let's watch this real quick.
You keep going, you useless, flaming car! What? Sell me a lemon? You're heading for the chokey, young lady. Chokey? Teach you a lesson? What lesson? Your father think you can make a fool out of me. My father? The guy with that stupid haircut.
She said, for the iniquity of your father, huh?
The apple never rots far from the tree.
Miss Honey!
Miss Trunchbull teaches our class today, Lavender. Please get a water pitcher.
But Miss Honey!
She'll be here in a second. Come on. Make sure the water's cold, Lavender. Hurry. Vinny, cover the fish. Put away the art project. Put away anything colorful. Oh, Charlie, won't you get those crayons for me?
Most great ideas come from heart.
You see how everybody was extremely scared of Miss Crunchpool? Everybody was shaking. They was terrified, right, of Miss Crunchpool, man. They try to hide things. They try to get everything right, right? They try to say, hey, hide the fish. Hey, cover that up. Hey, man, you got to have that same spirit. right? When it comes to the Lord, you got to have that same, you got to have worse fear, man. And the hell with the chokey, man. You talk about the lake of fire, man, right? And they seen her pull up and they got going. Them kids got to moving. You know what I'm saying? And then the teacher, she shook, everybody shook. You know what I'm saying? We got to have that even more. We got to have that even more concerning this truth, man. And we got to fear the lake of fire and damnation even more than them children fear that damn chokey, man. And that's going to make you a better prisoner of Yahweh Shai, and it's going to make you not be a prisoner of the world, man. Right? And it all starts with your mind, your thought process, right? Everybody's thought process. You got, we've taught people before, they have a problem. Let's say I have a problem with, people saying that God has all the authority. I think that you have the power. Our people have a problem with that. They have a complex, right? They have a complex in their mind where they believe that they have the ability to make decisions, and it's up to them, and they have power. You don't have no damn power. Your power is to serve the Lord. That is your power, right? Let me get this classic precept, right? It starts with your mind. In order to be a true prisoner, hey, I even tell you that. If I pull up a video of prisoners, they'll say when I first came in, man, I was tripping. And I was rocky roll. I was fighting everybody. I was bucking up. You know what I'm saying? But then my mind changed. My mindset changed. And now I don't act like that no more. Now I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to do in here. I'm trying to get out of here is what they'll say. Right? It's the same thing. You got to make up your mind that you are a servant of the Lord. You're going to serve the Lord, man. Not yourself. Just the book of Proverbs, chapter 3 and verse 5, classic. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not to thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. Be not wise in thy own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. Right? It shall be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones. Right? So literally, bro, you have to have that mindset, right? That you're going to literally fear the Lord and not lean on your own understanding. Allow him to direct your paths. Right? A prisoner don't get to choose where he's going. He don't get to choose when he gets to eat. Right? He don't get to choose none of those things. All those things are chosen for him by the warden. We don't get to choose these things. The Lord chooses everything for us, and we're supposed to be happy with that. He chose it, and he teaches us what he wants from us in his word. And as the brother Jamaica was bringing out, all these brothers and sisters that know precepts in Israel, know all the historical accounts, right? Know how to cut every doctrine, but don't know how to apply the scriptures to build themselves up. Think about that. They can cut everything, but they can't heal themselves. This world that we've been has stricken us, man, has broken us. And these scriptures the Lord gave us are supposed to heal us, man. And too many people are so concerned with debate, strife, contention, that they don't spend enough time working on themselves, man. Right? Hey, I got to work on myself, man. I got a lot of issues, man. I'm not perfect, man. I got a lot of damn problems. And I got to work on myself every day. But I got to use these scriptures to work on myself. That's why you don't see Sons of Zion in debates. We don't give a damn about that. We're trying to see the kingdom, man. We're trying to get ourselves together, right? We're trying to teach our people how to apply the scriptures as we learn how to apply the scriptures, man. To hell with the debate. What the hell we're going to get out of teaching you how to cut a Christian that ain't going to get it anyway? Know how to cut a Christian 8 ways from Sunday. You know what I'm saying? But you can't stop doing the folly that you do every day. The Lord don't give a damn about that. And you're not a true prisoner. Right? You're still a prisoner of the world because you do that because you want to be justified before men. Right? You're still worried about what people think. You got to worry about what the Lord thinks, man. Right? Let's get the book of Psalms. Right? It's the book of Psalms. Chapter 119. Psalms 119 and verse 133. Order my steps in thy word, and let not an iniquity have dominion over me. You see that? Order my steps in thy word. That's the way a prisoner's mind is supposed to work. You're a prisoner of Yahweh Shai. Your mind is supposed to work in that way. Order my steps according to thy word. What do you want me at, Lord? What do you want me doing? What do you want me to be? Right? That's the mindset, man. The mindset can't be you continuously concerned about damn how many people you can cut, how many debates you can win. Sign up for my university so you can learn how to debate. What is that? And I'm not trying to smash on up, but what is that, man? What is that? Right? Let's go to the book of Psalms. Right? It's the book of Psalms, chapter 37, and verse 23. And it reads, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. You see that? The steps of a good man. Hey, a good prisoner of Yahushua. The steps of a good prisoner of Yahushua are ordered by the Lord. And it comes from the scriptures, man. It don't come from your own mind. It don't come from the ways of the world. It don't come from what you were shown when you was in the world. Mama, big mama, TT, you know what I'm saying? Your pawpaw. It don't come from that, right? Let's go to the book of Job. You know, we're probably going to have to do a part 2 on this, man, right? We haven't even gotten to what it looks like to be a prisoner of the world. We kind of touching on it, but we mainly are just touching on a prisoner of the Lord, right? So we may have to do a part 2 on this, right? This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 23. No, Job. I want Job. Salaki. Job. It's the book of Job, chapter 23 and verse 10. But he knoweth the way that I take. When he have tried me, I shall come forth as gold. My foot have held his steps. His way I have kept and have not declined. Neither have I gone back from the commandment of his lips. I have esteemed his words of his mouth more than my necessary food. You see that? Hey, that's what Job said, a perfect man, an upright man, a man that eschewed evil. How did he eschew evil? How did he escape from being a prisoner of the world? He just told you. But he knoweth the way that I take. When he have tried me, I shall come forth as gold. My foot have held his steps. His way have I kept and not declined. Neither have I gone back from his commandment of his lips. I have esteemed the word of his mouth more than my necessary food. This is how he escaped from being a prisoner of the world and maintained as a prisoner of the Lord, right? Esteeming the words of the Most High God more than your necessary food, more than what you believe is your necessary food, man, right? You have to have this notion. All right, let's go to the book of John, right? It's the book of John, chapter 14 and verse 23. And Yahushua answered and said unto him, if a man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him, and he will come unto him and make our abode with him. You see that? If you love the Lord, you'll keep his words. You'll honor him. You'll be a good servant unto him. You're not bucking up as a servant, trying to go another way, trying to operate a different angle, right? You're going to honor him, right? You're going to honor his words, right? Whatever he commands you to do, you'll do. Wherever he wants you to be, you'll be. Right? This is how you bear good fruit, man. These are the fruits of those that actually serve the Lord. And the Lord is looking for those, right? Let me get this real quick. Let's go to the book of Titus, right? It's the book of Titus, right? Chapter 2. And I'm going to start at verse 7. In all things, showing thyself a pattern of good works, in doctrine, showing uncorruptness, gravity, and sincerity, sound speech that cannot be condemned, that he that is of the contrary part may be ashamed, having no evil thing to say of you. Exhort servants to be obedient unto their own masters, and please them well in all things, not answering again, right? So it says a pattern of good works. So you're supposed to be showing yourself a pattern of good works. That's what you got to be doing in this, as a prisoner of the Lord. Showing forth patterns of good works, not negative works, not works of the world, not being carnal, right? You know, we seeing things of brothers it's supposed to be in the truth, being carnal and not even giving a damn that they being carnal. We all got moments of being carnal, brothers and sisters. We all do. I can get carnal, but you ought to be ashamed when that happens. You ought to sit low in the dust when that happens, not still be proud. You kind of crash out and you proud of it. That's off. That's a prisoner of the world. You're a prisoner to your flesh. If you crash out and are proud of it after you crash out, you are a prisoner of your flesh. You can't be a prisoner of the Lord. Right? I've got carnal before, man, and I felt damn ashamed of myself, man. Couldn't believe myself, man. You know, I have to loathe myself for that. That's what a prisoner of the Lord is going to feel. And we got to examine ourselves. This is not to speak bad about any brother or any sister. This is just to say, hey, look, if that's you, examine yourself, because you can't be a prisoner of the Lord. And those that are a prisoner of the world, and you're going to get far worse than the choky, man, the lake of the depth, lake of fire, right? And you got it, King.
Shoot, I really ain't got much. We about to get ready to wrap up. But again, you know what I'm saying? You gotta, put iniquity from you. Try to be a captive of Yahweh and not a captive of the world, right? You know what I'm saying? And I can't stress enough, you know what I'm saying, that we gotta have wisdom, right? We gotta move with wisdom. So I'm gonna grab this real quick. This is the Wisdom of Solomon, 7:22. It says, "For wisdom, which is the worker of all things, taught me. Being heard is an understanding spirit, holy, one only, manifold, subtle, lively, clear, undefiled, plain, not subject to hurt, loving the thing that is good, quick, which cannot be letted, ready to do good, kind to man, steadfast, sure, free from care, having all power, overseeing all things, and going through all understanding, pure and most subtle spirits." Right? Let me jump down to 26. It says, "For she is the brightness of the everlasting light, the unspotted mirror of the power of God, and the image of his goodness," right? That's why, again, I can't stress it enough. Like I say, Proverbs, what is it, 4:7. You know what I'm saying? Wisdom is the principal thing. With all I get understanding, right? And with that wisdom, of course, we'll be able to be a prisoner of Yahweh Shai, have some understanding and, submit to the Lord ultimately. Verse, I left off on 26 or 27. "And being but one, she can do all things, and remaining in herself, she maketh all things new. And in all ages, entering into holy souls, she maketh them friends to God and prophets." So this is ultimately also how you have a relationship with the Lord, which a lot of people would, profess with their lips that they have. But if you don't have wisdom, you don't have a relationship with the Most High God. You're not a prisoner of Yahweh Shai. You're not a follower of him, right? You walk in contrary. In verse 28, it says, "For God loveth none but him that dwelleth with wisdom." So the Most High ain't dealing with you if you're not dwelling with wisdom, right? One more. I'm gonna jump down to chapter 8. It says, Salakia, chapter 8. It says, I'm trying to see where I want to start. I'll just start from the top. It says, "Wisdom reacheth from one end to another mightily, and sweetly doth she order all things." Just to show the context, of course, it's still talking about wisdom. Verse 4, I'm going to jump down. It says, "For she is privy to the mysteries of the knowledge of God, and a lover of his works." So if you operating in wisdom, then you will be a lover of these works. You know what I'm saying? Again, they shouldn't be grievous to you. These bonds that, you being captive to this word of the Most High God shouldn't be, tug of war. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be teeter-totting the line. You know what I'm saying? You should know wholeheartedly what you want, right? You shouldn't have that Donnell Jones spirit, right? Verse 5, it says, "If riches be a possession to be desired in this life, what is richer than wisdom, that worketh all things?" And we know how, precious it is. You know what I'm saying? It says that it's like unto gold, rubies, that there's nothing that exceeds having the wisdom of the Most High God. And with having that wisdom and that good understanding, of course, you're going to have that application, and you're going to righteously serve the Most High God. So again, we got to change, put away our iniquity. You know what I'm saying? Come back to the Most High God, be a prisoner of Yahweh Shai and not a prisoner of this world, confined to, the thoughts or the perception of man, right? And trimming our ways for this world. So yeah, with that, you got it, King. You're on mute out.
Con, I'm gonna just close out with this. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6 and verse 8. But a sore trial shall come upon the mighty. Unto you, therefore, O kings, do I speak, that ye may learn wisdom and not fall away. See, wisdom is the understanding of how to apply things, the ability to apply things you understand, right? That's what wisdom is. The understanding and wisdom are not the same thing. And what we're seeing here in Israel is a lot of people that understand scriptures but have no wisdom. They don't know how to apply it when it needs to be applied. That's why we see the behavior that we're seeing in Israel. They understand scriptures, but they have no wisdom. That's why you got to be very careful who you call wise. Wise is the ability to apply things that you understand when they need to be applied, right? Hey, I may understand how to use a wrench, but if I try to use it when I need to use a screwdriver, I have not wisdom. It's just that simple. And a lot of people, they understand precepts, they understand breakdowns, but they have not the wisdom to apply it when necessary, which is why you see so much carnality, right? So it says what? It says, for they that keep holiness holy shall be judged holy, and they that have learned such things shall find what to answer. You see that? Shall find what to answer. You see that? That's what wisdom does. You have the ability and know how to answer with the understanding of the scriptures you have. You know when to apply them and how to answer. And it says what? It says, wherefore set your affection upon my words, desire them, and ye shall be instructed. You see that? So it starts with your mind. You have to desire these words, and you shall be instructed. See, a lot of brothers, these words, they only mean power to them. They don't mean instruction. It shows them a way to get what they want. Show them a way to get, the women in order. Show them a way to get a name on the internet. It show them a way to get power, right? But they don't desire them to be instructed, right? And I'm going to jump down. This is verse 17. For the very true beginning, still talking about wisdom, for the very true beginning of her is the desire of discipline, and the care of discipline is love, right? So discipline, all prisoners got to have a form of discipline. They have a certain time they got to get up, right? A certain time they got a yard time. A certain time they got to do this, that, and the third. They got to have a form of discipline. To be a prisoner of Yahweh Shai, you have to be disciplined. You have a lot of undisciplined Israelites out there right now. Lack of discipline. And you got to build that. That's a character trait. You have to build discipline. A lot of brothers, they don't have discipline. A lot of sisters, they don't have discipline. That's why brothers miss camp. That's why brothers show up to camp late continually, right? That's why brothers miss calls and classes, right? A lack of discipline, man. And if you don't learn some discipline, I can tell you right now, you might as well get ready for that lake of fire. You better learn to be disciplined, right? And it says what? And discipline is love, and love is the keeping of her laws and the giving heed unto her laws, as is assurance of incorruption. And incorruption make us near unto the Most High. Therefore, the desire of wisdom bringeth to a kingdom. So with that, a prisoner of Yahweh Shai or a prisoner of the world, Most High willing, somebody was edified or will be edified on replays. Most High willing, we'll do a part 2 next week. Love y'all. Have a mighty and beautiful Shabbat. We'll be at Discovery Green 4 p.m. If you're in the Houston area, come out and fellowship. The brothers in Orlando will be at Lake Eola, right? I believe at 3:30 p.m. Go out and fellowship. Atlanta, they went to camp early, so they won't be out there. The brother in Baltimore, I'm not sure of his camp location. If he's still on the chat, he can put his camp location in the chat, and I'll get it for the next time to let brothers know where he's gonna be and what time. But until next time, love y'all. Shalom.
Shalom, family.